Hey there, Knicks fans. Oh, God. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. There comes a very special time. I try to sneak these by you at this point every couple of months. Eventually, this is just going to be like every week when we fall into complete and utter chaos here at KFS, but not yet. So this still counts as a treat. Today's episode features two men, again, who need no introduction, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. We're going to do a little Oscars Knicks talk because the Oscars are Sunday, and if ever a Knicks team deserved to have some awards handed to it, it is this one. I'm gonna go with the younger one first because I usually go with the old man first. So I'll go younger first. You can see him in a courtroom near you if you live in St. Louis. Is it St. Louis proper, or is it like a suburb of St. Louis?
It's St. Louis County. So
St. Louis County. Okay. Yeah. We can't, even though we all just got a description of his case that's going to be on trial soon. I can't tell you about it, but I will say he's actually doing important things in his life. And it's inspiring. Yash Manjanath, you also have heard him on Final Score with our producer extraordinaire, Andrew Claudio, talking about all things NFL. He is a sports savant. I think that's what your new title is. Is that fair, Yash?
You know what? I'm okay with that. I think I have many titles, really. So,
sure you do.
Yeah. Some of them even good.
No. None that we call you. Next up, my other law school buddy, who I once coached. No, we didn't coach Yash at the same time. I always forget that. You coached Yash, and then I coached Yash.
Yeah, you got my sloppy seconds. That's right.
Thank you for that. We're off to a rousing start. Formerly of Loud and Clear Reviews, he is on, let's just say he's working on something bigger and better. Involving the world of film criticism that I know everybody on this Zoom is excited about. Everybody on this pod is very excited about. There's going to be more news on that coming in the weeks and months ahead. Bernardo Zarowski, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Jonathan. Thank you for having us back. I was worried that now that the team was good, you didn't need us anymore.
Well, I had to. So Van Gundy reached out to me. He was like,
casual name drop over here.
I could do Thursday. I could do Thursday night. I could give you an hour and a half. And I say, it's I appreciate it, but I had this one booked, and I can't. I could never be able to offend these two people in any way, let alone tell them that their pod slot had been taken by the former coach of the Knicks. No, Bernard. I mean, come on. It's the Oscars. It's Oscars week. And to those of you out there who don't care about the Oscars or movies, fear not. This is going to be a Knicks conversation. We just, it's fun to have a gimmick. So before we get there, though, I will just ask very generally, Yash, I'll start with you. Are you having some fun this Knicks season?
Oh, it's been the best season in a while. Really has. It's been some dark days. The whole tenor of our group chat discussions has changed dramatically from just the dark, bitter, sardonic humor that we'd have to resort to get through it for years.
Super team, baby.
Yes, the super team. And now it's bizarre. It's not making us soft, but it is making us more optimistic and hopeful people, which is weird, but also good.
Well, for three lawyers, two current lawyers and one former lawyer. Yes. Shared optimism is not a regular occurrence for us. Yeah, no, that's well put. Bernard, anything you want to add on to that?
I got to say, it is the nicest thing to plan my life around the Knicks again. It sure is nice for the Knicks to get the big TV and the Yankees to get the iPad these days. I'm not even sure the Yankees deserve the phone at this point. But
do you have like a 10-inch old with a little box?
I like a little like a branded Shrek TV or something in the fucking corner. But oh God, they're so fucking good and they're so fucking fun right now. I don't care if they bust out in the first round of the playoffs. This has been the most fun team in 10 years.
Yeah, well, look at you with the transition. This is not your first rodeo, my friend. Okay, so we're splitting this pod into two parts. The second part is going to happen in a little while, in which we're going to compare some current Knicks to some current Oscar. I think I did Oscar contenders. Maybe, I don't know if you guys did or just did movies. Whatever. We're going to talk about movies in the Knicks. But first, we're actually going to give out some awards to this current Knick team. And we're going to go through the key categories, as it were, for the Oscars. Starting with, of course, the big one, Best Picture. So I will turn it back to you, Yash. Bernard just brought it up. Is this the best Knick season you have ever seen or followed? And if not, what beats it?
It's not quite the best Knicks season ever yet for me, but it's very close. And it very well could be my favorite Knicks season when all's said and done. Right now, I would say it's number 3 behind. Well, you know what? No, number 4 behind the 99 season, the 97 season, and the 2012-2013 season. So
you're older though, or younger rather. I'm older. God, I wish. So you don't really remember 93. You don't remember 93, 94.
No.
Okay.
It's too young. I mean, I do, but not enough where I'd be like, oh, well, that was I remember it, but not to the same degree that I really enjoyed it and remember it deeply as a sports fan.
Bernard, you kind of remember 93, 94. You were.
I was 9. Back then, and we had Knicks tickets, so I went to an awful lot of those games in the 93-94 season, so I remember that quite well. I'm happy. Look, 93-94 is my number 1 right now, and I'm happy that my child has started unprompted singing "Go New York, Go New York, Go" while walking around the house during the day. I'm very proud of this achievement, and that all derives from the 94 team. I think 99, just the miracle of it's my number 2. And for me, this is dead heat with the pre-trade 2010-2011 Knicks for my favorite pulling at the heartstrings. Look, I like to root for the players on the court. I feel like I have almost a relationship with them from spending every night with them for 80 nights a year. And this dead heat 3rd place right now in my life.
There was an earned quality about the first 50 games, I guess, before the trade, right? My God, that was the trade.
That was a fun team.
It was a very fun team. There was an earned quality because it was a different type of earned quality than it feels like we're getting right now, because this feels like, oh, this is the build up towards the next great Knicks team. And you're seeing the build up right now. That was just 2 years of not misery, because the D'Antoni, there were some fun moments, but it mostly sucked. And then that happens, like, oh, we got these guys and it's actually a real team, and it was cohesive. I don't know. For me, 90, I don't think anything could ever beat 99. So I would go 99, then 94. Then after that, though, I think just because of how, again, referring to our really miserable text chains over the last several years, this feels like it. I don't know. I don't know if I ever fully doubted that it was ever going to happen, but it's like, wow, okay, this is actually happening.
So part of why I don't want to rank this season higher, and as great as this season is, as wonderful of a ride as it is, and maybe for some fans it'll have the number 1 spot because it is the sign of something bigger and better. But I just think the best is yet to come, and that next season will be even better. I really do. Like next season, the year after that, like these next couple of years, I think are just going to be great as this front office makes the moves to add a couple more pieces to really get this team contending again. And that's going to be even more fun. And once fans are packing MSG again, and we get to see a sold out crowd watching this team, that's just going to take this to a whole nother level. So, that's part of why, as much as I love this team, I think the best is yet to come. And I think we're going to end up ranking the years to come as is even higher than some of the fond memories we already have.
I think so. Good transition to best director. Tom Thibodeau, Mr. Thibs. I like Mr. Thibs. What do you think he would do if I called him on a post game Zoom? I got a question and I was like, "Hey, Mr. Thibs," and then just went into my question. Do you think it would throw him off? I
think he might get one of those smiles. One of those special only for you, Macri smiles.
Only for me. So best director. I mean, this is this is a 3-man conversation. We have Thibs now, and then we had Van Gundy and we had Riley. I think like Pat Riley is like my sporting ideal for like what like a man should be in the world of sports. it's like all of my sensibilities about like what is cool come from Pat Riley. I don't know that and then there's obviously Van Gundy, who was the opposite of Riley in so many ways, but also similar to him in so many ways.
That's weird because I've never thought of Pat Riley as effeminate before. So
you're just a terrible human being. Listen, the slick back hair was cool. And I am cool, so therefore we are cool. Me and Pat.
You were cool. It's perfect. It syncs up too.
When did I stop becoming cool? Was I ever cool? I think I was cool. I'm not cool anymore. But so Van Gundy was like the opposite of Riley, but also cut from Riley's cloth. And Thibs seems to fall like somewhere in between because there's like a weird underdog-ish quality to Thibs that reminds me of Van Gundy, but at the same time, like Riley had the reputation coming into the Knicks. It's like, oh, this is the best coach in the league. And I feel like Thibs came with some of that as well. Bernard, where does Thibs rank for you amongst the Knicks head coaching hierarchy?
This is a really difficult one for me because I love Tom Thibodeau. I wish he would adopt me as a child. I think he's amazing. And
you just want to get beaten by him.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, that really does it for me. So but
God, we're really going off the rails here. Man,
started early. I think I would probably have him as it's got to be Riley number one. I agree. Riley also has that sort of evil to him that I want in my coaches. The it's not worth winning if you don't win big sort of ethos that I want to see. And I haven't really. It's a tie basically with him and Van Gundy. But since I love Van Gundy for sort of grabbing onto someone's ankle, I think that Thibodeau would be more straight up about it. And I think I respect that attitude.
You think he would have tackled?
I think he would. I think he would have gone in. I think he would have lowered the shoulder. I think it would have been a really impressive display, something for the highlight reel. So I'm going to put Thibs on the 2 seed based on a bit more physicality. Actually, you know what? The simple thing, Thibs has worked a miracle. Van Gundy accepted Riley's work and kept it going. And I think that's the reason Thibs gets the edge, to be serious about it for a moment.
Oh, wow. That's so I firmly have Thibs at number 3 right now. This might be controversial, but I actually have Van Gundy number 1.
You have Van Gundy over, well, but again, the age thing, you started in 97, Riley was, so you don't really remember Riley. This is a fair question.
I do. And here's what I remember about Riley more than anything as a Knicks fan was those years that his Heat's teams kept losing to the Knicks and Van Gundy. So
that was fun.
It was fun. It was. And Van Gundy was the student who kept besting the master. I mean, the 1 year Riley beat the Knicks, it was with the suspensions.
Yeah, and he cheated. They cheated.
Exactly.
And in unison with the league, they cheated.
Right. And that Knicks team, they were going to win that series in like 5 games probably before that happened.
Yes.
Dominating that series. So and the way he left, I mean, it was him leaving that really started the downward spiral. Like that's what I associate more than anything with.
Well, he got the last life raft off the boat, and can we blame him for doing so? I can't.
But it's very close.
He Billy Zaned this shit. Like he was there grabbing a child to squeeze in with the women to get away from the sinking ship. He made the right choice.
He left Herb Williams right the fuck behind. Herb was playing the violin on
his Heart of the Ocean was back in the cabin. So
here, hold on, I'm putting you guys on the spot. Pick a number. I'm Van Gundy's in a lot of ways, number one in my heart, even though Riley is like my number one in like my coaching ideal. Thibs is 3. I think he has a chance to move up. Pick a number 3 from this list. I hope you're sitting down. Don Nelson, Don Chaney, Herb Williams, Lenny Wilkins, Larry Brown, Isaiah Thomas. This is easy. Mike D'Antoni, Mike Woodson, Derek Fisher, Kurt. Can't say his name without laughing. Kurt Rambis, Jeff Hornacek, the immortal David Fisdale, Mike Miller.
This is an easy one. Mike Woodson all the way.
It's
Woodson.
Yeah, and
no question.
Look, I think putting Thibs, like I love Mike Woodson. I probably love Mike Woodson far more than either of you two because of how much I loved that 2012, 2013 team. So me already being ready to put Thibs above Woodson is very high praise for Thibs. The issue that I have with Thibs right now, as much as I love him, to make a baseball analogy for a second, what he's proven so far as a head coach is he can take a young, scrappy team and get them to overachieve. He's like Bobby Valentine right now. And we still need to find out if he can be Joe Torre. We still need to find out if he can, once we add superstar players who are with difficult egos, that are actually going to take this team to the next level of being a legitimate championship contender. Is he the guy that's going to be able to do that? Will his personality allow for that to happen? And I still have my doubts about that. I hope that it happens here for him, but we still don't know that yet. And we still need to find that out.
Yeah, I think it's a good question.
Wasn't that Buck Showalter too for a while?
I was going to say, is he Buck Showalter or Joe Girardi on this sliding scale? Can he get over the hump or not? And I think it's by far the most fair question about Thibs over the next 5 years.
He seems like he's learned a little bit, but a leopard never changes his stripes. One day, a future pod for us, mark this down, Andrew, is to go through, rank the 5 worst Knicks head coaches. We don't have time for that or enough alcohol for that right now. Moving on to best original adapted screenplay. Is there a realistic case that I guess it's going to be Leon Rose, but we know Brock Aller's really pulling the strings. Do they have a case for executive of the year? And well, let's start with that. And then I guess we could move on. Yeah, no, let's do both. What do you think is the number one realistic addition that this team makes in the offseason? So Bernard, tee us off. Do you think they have a real case? Let's start there.
Well, I think the first question is, should they have a case? And I think the easy answer to that is yes, they should have a case. They've turned what was expected to be a 20-ish win team into something that's resembling a force down the stretch here and looks like a serious, credible top 4 seed in the East.
4-ish right now, that's for sure.
4-ish right now. And that's pretty fucking impressive. And look, they resisted temptation to do stupid things. They made smart incremental moves. Look, these sort of overachieving things are what Executive of the Year awards are built on. So I do think that they should have a case. I don't think they're going to win. The Vegas odds are really bad. It just doesn't seem like anything is coming together for the Knicks to win any of these postseason awards that they should probably be in the running for.
Which is other than Randle.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Randle's, he's not going to seriously. I mean, I'm not sure he should be better than second place in the MVP anyway, but he's not. No,
not. I'm talking about most improved. He'll probably
sure. He could win.
That's yeah. Yash, you think they have a case?
So initially, I mean, look, the Vegas odds aren't, again, like Bernard said, they're not good for them. Should they have a case? Yeah. And I would have said no initially because, I mean, what have we said about this team? It's that they've overachieved, that the talent level isn't great. But then when I sat down to think about it more after seeing the question initially, there isn't a ton more talent than last year, but the pieces fit so much better. And that's important. That matters. And the other thing is, I mean, they got the steal of the draft in Emmanuel Quickly. They deserve a ton of credit for that. And they signed some really great role players that the whole league could have gotten if they wanted. They got Alec Burks on a cheap deal. They brought Nerlens Noel in on a reasonable deal. They traded for Derrick Rose. They got him for a bag of balls. And he's been huge for this team. And
you forgot Taj.
Yes, Taj should bring back Taj. So they've made some really savvy moves. I think the payroll is still, if not the lowest in basketball, one of the lowest. And they're a top 4 seed in the East with a bright future, ton of draft capital. So they found a way to both build the team up the right way while at the same time win games. So, I mean, regardless of whether or not they win the award, they should absolutely receive serious consideration.
I'll just say this. I wrote it in the newsletter today. I don't know. It's all running together. They've already exceeded the preseason, the Vegas over under by 11.5 games. And the next closest team is Phoenix. They've exceeded it by 3.5 games. And Phoenix lost, but thanks a lot, fucking Phoenix. Lost to Boston tonight. Didn't look like they showed up really. But the good news on that is, like, if Phoenix falters down the stretch and like Utah is like not like they're just a regular number 1 seed and they don't like go, win it by several. I don't know. I could, and the Knicks get a 4 seed. I could see it. This summer, I'm going to make an
announcement. Dare we dream, or a 3 seed?
Well, on the other side, the Bucks won tonight, so the Bucks would need to like really take a big one down the stretch. So this summer, I'm prepared to make an announcement. You ready for this? I think I'm changing my free agency big board. I think I want to move Spencer Dinwiddie up to my number 1 offseason priority over Lonzo. I had Lonzo first, and then I just keep thinking about it. I just don't see a scenario where that dude's going to accept it, where we're going to get that dude for either. It's going to be either a massive overpay, a stupid overpay, or a sign and trade where you're still overpaying him. And I don't know that I could talk myself into that being a better scenario than getting Dinwiddie at like a 15% discount because he's coming off the ACL and taking that chance. He's my number 1 offseason priority. What are you guys number 1?
So this is an easy one for me. DeMar DeRozan. I'm here for it.
You're just being nice to me.
No, I'm here for like the more that I've got to thinking and the more I've watched DeRozan this season, I mean, he would be perfect for this team, especially now that Randle can shoot, RJ can shoot. They don't lack for shooting anymore. So he'd be a perfect fit as the lead ball handler for this team. He's an efficient scorer, but he could still shoot the 3 better than Elf. He's a Hall of Fame talent. You'd be getting at a discount, really. He's still young enough that he could be good for the next few years as this team eventually becomes a contender. I love the idea of adding DeRozan to this team, and he could really take the team to another level next year. And I think you add DeRozan as a free agent, and then you make the right trade at the deadline, and you're contending next season.
Bernard?
I would like to keep the train of not doing anything stupid going and just keeping our options open for when a real difference maker comes onto the field to play here. And I think the best way to make the team better and not fuck up anything for the future, I believe he's rechristened himself as Dr. Lowry in the last 48 hours. I would like Kyle Lowry to be.
Has that happened?
I believe so. Yes.
How did I miss this? Okay.
I would like Kyle Lowry to be the New York Knicks starting point guard next year. It is a huge upgrade at the position where they are the weakest. As Yash texts us on a daily basis, Elf Payton should be shot into the sun on a rocket ship. And I think that the best way to facilitate that is to sign Kyle Lowry, give him the 2 years, $50 million or whatever it takes to do it. Worst case, he could decline significantly. He'll be a huge upgrade. All it's going to cost is money. And if he craters out, it's not the sort of move that fucks you up for the long term. I think that Lowry is a wonderful fit for Thibs. I think he's going to play well I think he's going to make RJ and Randle better. I think he's a perfect fit to move this team to the next level. Maybe it's not a team that wins a title, but it's a team that's looking more like a legitimate 3-4 seed that you feel good about on paper.
I'll say this about Lowry. He's the only player that's unless, well, actually, no. I'm about to throw a little bit of shade. I was about to say I was going to say he's the only player available this summer who has proven he could be the best player on the floor in the last 5 minutes of a finals game. And then I caught myself because I was like, wait, no, Chris Paul may make himself available with this summer. And then I'm like, wait, no, Chris Paul's never proven that. So it's a little shady, right? Would you actually? Okay, so
I mean, wait. Are we okay? Let's calm down for a second. Has Kyle
what are you calming down about? Why do I need to calm down?
Has Kyle Lowry ever proven that? Well, when has he ever proven?
Oh, come on. Listen, I know it was Kawhi's championship, but like, go watch.
Yes, it was Kawhi's championship. Oh, okay. I mean, you want to say that maybe Lowry was more important than Siakam, which we've talked about.
I'm talking about for just stretches of end of game. Like at the end of those games, Lowry was the one who was like, I got this, guys. We're not losing this game.
I mean, they didn't win a thing before Kawhi got there.
You're fucking.
They were the classic. They were the classic, like, great regular season team that would choke in the playoffs.
He had one hellaciously bad playoff series. I think it was the one against the Nets. There's one that stands out, right? Yeah, okay. Other than that, he was like a lot of guys are his playoff performance, like not great, but not awful.
Look, I'll say this though. I mean, before we got crazy about Kyle Lowry, I think that he would be in my top three. I agree with everything Bernard
he should be.
said.
He's easily in the top three.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a huge upgrade at a position of need. And he is another player, much like DeRozan, that if they got him and then made the right deal at the deadline, they could be contenders as early as next year. So, yes, he would be another guy I would love to see. Top player on the court in the last 5 minutes of a finals game.
I don't know. I feel like Dinwiddie has a lot of swagger. I agree, Bernard. You're not wrong. That I think that the Lowry answer at this point is the objectively correct answer. But there's something about Dinwiddie that I've always dug, and I just would like to see him wearing.
Well, it's because you're a masochist and you like being humiliated, and you like the fact that he makes fun of the Knicks on a regular basis. And
I actually like that about him a lot.
No, I actually fucking love that about him, that he took on that role because
right, you're both masochists and
but if you were Spencer, if you were a Net fan, shout out to I'm not gonna make this joke. Shout out to all the Net fans out there.
All the Net fan out there?
But if like imagine if you're a Net fan and you saw at the time he was like their best player, like needle the opposing fan base, like that's great. That's what you want to see. So I don't know. The guy has my respect. And I feel like he'll have a chip on his shoulder because he's again, chip on his shoulder guy, 2nd round pick, fucking cut or whatever he was, traded from Detroit for a bag of balls. Speaking of trades from Detroit for bags of balls. Does he have the same teams as not Brooklyn, but Chicago and Detroit, mirroring
Detroit
roses.
Just loves to collect bags of balls. That's what we're learning.
They do love their bags of balls. Perfect transition to best actor / actress. So this is where we talk about Julius Randle. I've been getting this question a lot in like DMs and stuff. So we'll go with this first. Let's keep it simple. This Randle season versus pick your mellow year. And
12-13 is got
yeah, but so year. I guess I'll leave the nerd. So Bernard, I'll leave the nerdery to you. The numbers say other years were better. The advanced numbers say other years were better for Melo. What is Melo's best season? Do you have to go by the advanced numbers or is it 12-13?
Look, I think the advanced numbers are fun. I love them. I think they're better in baseball than in basketball. A lot of them derive from team performance. It's hard to separate it all out. I think you have to give it to Melo, regardless of what his win share 48 is or something like that.
But 12-13,
you have to give it to 12-13 because that's the team that had the most success.
They won 54 games and he won a scoring title. And for that year, he looked like a player who actually could be the best player in a finals in the last 5 minutes if he ever got there. But the team around him fell apart against Indiana. But he had a great series and he was a great player that whole season.
Here's my objection to Melo. I think Melo is a fantastic individual player. I don't think that he is the sort who, even at his best, aside from the dad Melo run that never actually came to life in the NBA. He's not the sort of person who really makes his teammates better. He helps win games. He scores a lot of points. And, you know, the best part about Julius Randle this year is that he has taken seriously the obligation to try to make his teammates better. He has taken seriously the obligation to look for people outside. He has, aside from big moments, he has backed down off of the ISO play a little bit. It's just Randle has been a difference maker for the entire team in a way that Melo never showed the commitment to doing.
Melo, so just for anybody on the younger side or ill-informed, in 2012-13, Carmelo Anthony finished third in the MVP voting to LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who are, I was going to say, unequivocally the best two players of the last 20 years, but Steph Curry, I guess we probably should have a conversation about. That's hard to do. And he finished just ahead of, here are the guys he finished just ahead of. And boy, does this list look interesting in retrospect. 4th place, Chris Paul. 5th place, Kobe Bryant. 6th place, Tony Parker. 7th place, Tim Duncan. When's the last time two teammates finished 6th and 7th in MVP? 8th, James Harden. 9th, Russell Westbrook. 10th, Dwayne Wade. 11th, Steph Curry. 12th, a tie between Kevin Garnett, Marc Gasol, and how about this one, folks? Ty Lawson. Okay, so let's forget Ty Lawson.
Yeah.
The other name, Joakim Noah getting an MVP vote from someone, as well as David Lee. Someone put David Lee on their MVP ballot.
So Bernard kidnapped somebody, one of the MVP voters, and put a gun to their head, threatened to kill their family, and got them to vote for David Lee.
Wrong use of head in that sentence, Yash.
Very wrong in many ways. So other than KG, who was 36, Duncan, who was 36, and Bryant, who was 34, although he was still really kicking at 34, like all those guys that Melo beat out for MVP that year. And I know their teams did not do what New York did that year, and team performance matters a lot in the whole thing, but like, that's a list.
Yeah.
That's a fucking list.
I mean, just that Indiana series, which again, I still have nightmares about Hibbert blocking him.
But it's a regular season.
That's how painful. But like, what happened in that series? Like Tyson Chandler became a cadaver, and J.R. Smith couldn't hit a shot.
That's harsh.
And those were his the second and third best players on the team. Like Melo had a great series. Melo was still great, and if those guys had just lived up to their end of the deal, not even outperformed, just played close to the level of performance that they gave the team in the regular season and in that first round series. They beat Indiana. They move on. They probably give Miami a series that goes 6 or 7 games if Chandler doesn't get hurt and start to play horribly. I mean, that team, that wasn't Melo's fault that year. I mean, that individual season was just that to me is it's that and Ewing in 97. Those his last All-Star year. Those are my two that I would put ahead of Randle right now. But this year from Randle would be number 3 for me.
Well, ironically enough, and Bernard we'll finish up with this and then move on. Ewing never finished top 3 in MVP, which is insane when you think about Carmelo Anthony at a higher MVP finish than.
Yeah. That's how good he was that year.
I got a tiny bit of saber here on how underrated Patrick Ewing is. Just a tiny bit, because basketball saber sucks. In his entire Knicks career, 7 years, Carmelo Anthony was worth 20 value over replacement player. That's sort of your easy metric. 0 is like a dude you can get off the street. 20 wins, pretty good. Patrick Ewing, over 50 in 13 years. More than doubled Melo in less than twice the time. He is a tremendous, tremendous player who is ludicrously underrated by Knicks fans in history. That on a sabermetric basis, he's easily the best Knick to ever take the court. And I don't think he quite gets the respect and props he deserves, probably because he never got to the promised land and had a certain fucker in Chicago who was perpetually in the way. But look, that guy is a fantastic player. I'm loath to pick, partially because some of them are frankly before my memories kick in, because you could be looking at like the 89-90 season or 92-93.
Yeah, no, we're going from mid-90s on.
But,
yeah.
Ewing is good. He's really, really good, and we don't treat him with the reverence he deserves.
Listen, Ewing is in a category of his own for me as well. Pick your best Ewing season. I'll go with 93-94 because again, they made it to the finals. That's number 1 for me. I will still give to it. It's starting to feel wrong though. I have to though. I'll still give 12-13 Melo the edge, but I just want to point out two things. Yash, I'm not saying this he had a bad series, but for the series against Indiana, he shot 43% from the field, 35% from deep, had assists that series. He had 4, 5, 6, 7. He had 8 assists in 6 games that series. And for that season, the 2012-13 season, Carmelo Anthony averaged 2.6 assists in 37 minutes of action, playing around what is unequivocally the best collection of teammates as a whole that he's ever had. And I know Billups and J.R. Smith were on the Denver team, and they had a good team. I think the 12-13 supporting cast, top to bottom, was better. And he averaged 2.6 assists that season. I don't know. I think Randle could pass him. That's all I'm saying. I think Randle could pass him. I can't say it yet. I think Randle can pass him.
It's tough to go there just because the team success is nowhere near. I mean, as good as this team is doing. I don't think this team is going to be a contender when all is said and done this season. And I think that team was legitimately a contender.
So you're going to hold that against Julius Randle if this team had dog shit, expectations this year?
No, that's not the only reason why. I just, as great as Randle has been, I don't think so. What do we talk about all the time in the text thread about what we really need for this team is a guy who, has this gravitational force on offense. Like as a shot creator, an elite shot creator, what matters the most. But I mean, it doesn't have to be a wing. It just has to be an elite shot creator. Well, if it doesn't have to be a wing, then why can't it be Randle? Because he's as an elite shot creator as there is as at the big man position. Well, I mean, other than Jokic, who's in a weird his own category. I don't know. I mean, it is so. Do you think Randle is ever good enough to be the number one scoring option on a team that actually wins a championship? I'm here for that. I want to listen to that conversation. I want to be a part of that conversation. If he ever gets there, then sure, he passes Melo. And look, Melo didn't do it, but I don't think it was his fault that he didn't do it. I think he was good enough. Well, if the team had held up around him, I really think he was that elite of a scorer. He was that elite of a shot creator. They just never built the team around him.
I don't know. I think you're giving him a little bit too much credit.
I mean, him at his peak, yeah, I think he was that good. But because it's like when Charles Barkley would give commentary after these games and talk about how much better of a shot creator Carmelo Anthony was than he was. I mean, he's not one to be modest. That guy won an MVP, and he was still talk about. I mean, Melo did some incredible things at his peak.
I'm sorry, fucking game 1 against Indiana. You know what his stat line was? Carmelo Anthony, 10 for 28. He had 1 3. He had 1 3 and 1 assist. 10 for 28.
Efficiency.
Just throwing it out there. All right, let's move on because we're going to start yelling. We'll finish up this gimmick before we get to the next one. All right. Best supporting actor, actress, a category that I'm very excited to see in the actual Oscars, how this turns out. So we're ranking, we can get through this one, I think, pretty quick. Rank the following role players that are upcoming free agents that you think need to be brought back next season. So we're ranking them based on the level of import for moving forward. Okay, so we have Derrick Rose, Noel, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, Taj Gibson, Frank Ntilikina, Mitchell Robinson. Say one more time. Derrick Rose, Nerlens Noel, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, Taj Gibson, Frank Ntilikina, Mitchell Robinson. Bernard, is there an easy number 1 here for you?
I mean, my heart wants to say Taj Gibson, but I'm not sure from a basketball perspective I can actually put Taj number 1.
I don't know about that.
I like that sort of grit and tough leadership moxie that he brings to the court every single day.
Never messes up.
This is really hard.
It is hard.
This is sort of a little brain busting for me because it comes down to what Mitch is or isn't. Because in concept, Mitch should be the easy number one here, but in reality, I'm just not sure that he is. Because look, they're a better team. They've been a better team with Mitch out, and it's really hard for me to reconcile that. And maybe it's that Noel is more willing to accept sort of limited role that he's taken on so effectively. It should be Mitch, but I kind of think it's Bullock.
This is why we're good friends after all of these years. This is the reason right here. It feels like it should. In your heart, it's Bullock, right?
I think it's Bullock. I really do. I look hard at Burks. I think it's Bullock. I'm coming down on Bullock. Maybe it's the glory of that three late yesterday that's getting to me, but I think it's Bullock.
But it isn't. So we keep talking about how Julius Randle has like unlocked a new level for himself now as an NBA player. Reggie Bullock has been, I don't know. It's journeyman is harsh. It's journeyman is not accurate, but he's 30. It's taken him a little while to he obviously hasn't found a home, right? He kind of bounced around. Did not have the pedigree that any team was ever like, ooh, we got to lock this guy up long term and make sure he is, our guy for, moving forward. But he's putting up nearly 8 3-point attempts a game since the All-Star break, and he's hitting 44% of them. I mean, and these are quick trigger releases. Yash, where are you at?
So I agree with everything that you're both saying about Bullock. I like Bullock a lot. I like Burks a lot.
Yeah.
I want to preface this by saying I love all of the role players on this team.
Yeah.
And I think they're all valuable role players on a contending team if you just have the right star power around them. My number one for me, though, is Rose. Because he really has yes, we joke about their win-loss with Rose versus when he wasn't on the team or hasn't played. But they're a different team when he's there. They just are. Like when he's there and he's not infected with COVID, they're just a different team. I mean, his ability to be a point guard, a legitimate point guard in the last 5 minutes of a game is going to pay off huge for them down the stretch. And they needed him. They really needed him on this team, and the team just found another level when they traded for him. But I love Burks a lot too. I go back and forth between Burks and Bullock all the time. Like depending on the day, I could say Bullock. Depending on the day, I could say Burks. They're very close to me as 2 and 3, and then I would put like Mitch and Noel on the same level, depending on the price that you could lock Mitch up for. Honestly, because if Mitch is too expensive, I'd rather have Noel. But if Mitch, you can get him on a reasonable deal, I'd rather have Mitch because the upside's higher. And then Frank and Taj are, again, I like them too, but they would be rounding out the end.
Well, two things. One, it's incredibly sad that I can't believe this. I have to put Frank a clear last in this conversation.
Clearly. How dare you put Taj and Frank on the same level, Yash?
I was actually insulted for a second that you did.
I have them at the end in whatever order you want to put them, but
that's the thing. It's not.
There's an order.
I think
Taj is an important part of this team.
I think the other 5 are clearly above them, but I get it. I
don't understand how you could. Taj just put 20. He's playing half of the game for the 4th seed in the East. I know he's 35. Maybe okay for this list because Taj is old.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't the question who we should?
Yes, it is. But your fucking number one is at 35, or how old is Rose? He might as well be 30.
He's like 31, 32. He's
32.
He's about my age.
Whatever, so man. Your favorite Knicks team ever had like 48-year-old Kurt Thomas and 41-year-old Marcus Camby on it. You need an old man enforcer.
You're not far off on Camby. Was definitely
Camby was like 37, 38. It was wild.
I think I'm gonna look it up right now.
42.
I think Kurt Thomas was the oldest player on that team. I think Camby was second. I'm gonna look it up right now. Just one more thing. here are the players who have hit more as we're recording this on Thursday night. So the stats haven't updated for tonight's games, I don't think. Here are the players that have hit more 3-pointers than Reggie Bullock since the All-Star break. Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, Duncan Robinson, Joe Ingles, Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's tied with Luka Doncic, one ahead of Terry Rozier. Or sorry, tied with Terry Rozier also. And he's ahead of he's ahead of Tatum, Brown, Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony. I'm just reading like Zach LaVine, CJ McCollum, Joe Harris. I mean, seriously though, this is the conversation we need to have about Reggie Bullock now. I mean, he's not just like, oh, nice little whatever. Oh wait, here we go. We have the ages. Thank you, Mr. Claudio. So the oldest player on the 2012-13 Knicks,
Kurt Thomas, 1972.
Jesus, he was born shortly after the moon landing.
Wait, no. Kurt Thomas, October 4th, 1972. Marcus Camby. Oh, wait, no. That's 1974.
1974, yeah.
Yep, and Kidd is 73.
Wow, so Kidd is older than Camby? I did not realize that. That's and Sheed, of course. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I loved Sheed on that team. That was such a fun 1-year wonder of a team. Oh
God. Okay. That's a good play. Okay, so we've made a executive decision as we've been recording this pod. We're going to split this into 2 episodes because we're just having so much fun. And the next one, and I need to refill my glass because of the next part of the conversation. So thank you for listening to the first part of a very special 2-part Oscars edition of the Knicks Film School Podcast. Check your feed for part 2 right now. And we love you and thank you, and hit the like button. No, there's no like button on this. It's 5-star and rate and review. There you go. Okay. But listen to the next episode. Okay. I'm getting better at this.